Actually, you don't need to be better to have a successful business. You don't need to be more, you don't need to be this perfect version of an entrepreneur to have the clients, to have the money, to be able to create the transformation with the business that you want to create. This whole thing of striving for the better version for ourselves is actually flawed because whenever we reach that next level, we will instantly look for the next better version of ourselves. And what is really truly the key to your successful business, because that will look very differently from my successful business or your friend's successful business, is you finding your way to your soulpreneur identity. And I will explain shortly what this whole concept means, but it is not a better version of you. It is you finding your way back to kind of your true version. And that is a big difference in that. Hi, welcome back to the She Who Leads podcast. I'm Daniela Varga, your intuitive business coach who is helping you build a business from your soul pool, your purpose that is creating change, that is creating transformation, and building success along the way. So, welcome back to this episode. Uh, we are diving deep into identity work in this session. And specifically, I want to dive deep into the soulpreneur identity, which is a kind of a new concept I've been playing around with, and I've been looking in intuitively, looking in with the different tools and my own capabilities that I got specifically for to help you guys to build your soul business. And what I've been dealing a lot in my life, and what actually I've been going through in a new season lately, is this feeling of I'm never going to be enough. I'm never going to be that version of myself who is able to build what I want to build, what I know I want to build, what I desire to build. And it's this never ending chase of these future versions of myself who I see as a better version of me, right? Like because she knows something I don't know, or she embodied something I didn't embody yet, or she's capable of doing something that now I feel like I'm unable to do. And I see that we do this with ourselves, and I see this with clients. I experience this myself so much, especially when it comes to business, and especially when it comes to the soul business, because your soul business, like, first of all, let's start the definitions there. What is the soul business? The soul business is the business that is specifically built around your soul pool, your purpose, aka what you are here to do in this lifetime. And I said this a lot. I will say this in every episode if I need to. Your soul business, your soul pool, your purpose is specific, unique to you. So, the business that you are about to build from your purpose will be unique. It has never been done before, the way you will do it, the way you are supposed to do it. So, there's not really a blueprint that you can follow. And that is very scary. And naturally, when we don't have a blueprint, we tend to get very uncertain and our brains, our ego, our nervous system is trying to find solutions. It's trying to find ways to make sense of something that we don't really understand, something that we don't know yet. And that is what happens a lot of the times with someone starting a business or someone becoming an entrepreneur. Of, oh my god, I have no idea what to do, so let's just do what everyone else is doing, because why not? And there's nothing wrong with following others. But what I found with the soul business, and actually with any business, but specifically with the soul business, is that because it is unique, following someone else's blueprint will get you so only so far. And usually the so far is like very little along the way, because you will very soon feel like, oh, this I don't find interesting. This seems too heavy. This seems too hard. This doesn't work for me. Why doesn't it work for me? Why does it seemingly work for everyone else but not for me? And again, our conclusion usually is not that, oh, that this must be that I need a different way. Our conclusion is, oh, I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And this whole I'm not cut out for this, I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur, is, I think, the most heartbreaking part of this identity crisis that a lot of soulpreneurs find themselves in. Of like, oh, what if I'm just not cut out to be an entrepreneur? I have these amazing dreams. I have these desires to change the world. I have this pull that is so strong in my heart, in my whole body, of like wanting to help people, wanting to heal people, wanting to heal the world. And then I'm suddenly finding myself in this new role where I don't feel good at all. It feels uncomfortable. It feels nothing like me. I feel like I have to uh you know um I have to be someone who I am not. I have to be able to do things that I don't know how to do, to actually then get to the point where I get to do what I originally love to do. So it's this gap between it somehow becoming an entrepreneur, somehow you becoming a soulpreneur. There's a gap that is created between what you truly enjoy and how you get there, right? I know you are meant to change lives. You know you are meant to change lives. Maybe you're not fully set on that yet, but not believing it yet, but you have this nudge. And yet you still find yourself maybe procrastinating on starting that business, or you're in the business but you're not really doing the things that would move the business along. And you may even feel lonely in this whole process because nobody around you is in the same shoes. I have a very good news for you, because I just created a free community, the Embody Soulpreneur community, which is specifically designed for you soulpreneurs, people who want to help, who want to create transformation with their businesses, who want to create businesses from their soul pool, where we actually focus on how you will be able to embody this inner soulpreneur identity of yours, how you will be able to let go of people pleasing. Or our current topic in the community is how you can let go of the imposter syndrome and finally feel as an authority in your field, in your business. And there's so many other topics that I will bring into this community, and I want to guide you guys through them and share what I figured out for myself. And it's just such a nice place to be surrounded around fellow soulpreneurs who have the same goal of changing the world, and who can cheer you on, and who can support you, and who can help you, and you can ask questions and share your stories. And it's just, I dream this community to be something very special and uplifting and empowering for and a home base for people who really like want to step fully on their soul business journey. So I am very happy to invite you into that community. You can find the link in the show notes below. And I really hope I see you in there, because we tend to feel like, okay, so to get there, I actually need to know how to create content. I need to know how to create offers. I need to be good at sales. I need to be good at video editing. I need to become a podcaster and a content creator and so many other different roles that, to be honest, in the beginning, you didn't really want it to sign up for, right? Because your only desire was to do what you love. Maybe that is helping people with their nervous system. Maybe is talking to people. Maybe it's painting or dancing, or I don't know, doing whatever you love to do. And then you have all of these other things that you feel like you, well, don't really like to do, you don't really want to do, and to be honest, you're not really good at. And those all boil down to, first of all, our identity. So specifically, we have identities basically attached to everything that we do, right? So for example, you have your identity as a daughter or a son, right? You have parents, you have your identity as, okay, I am this type of a son, I am this type of a daughter. You have your identity as a sibling, right? You have your identity as a partner, like who you are as a partner. You have your identity as a parent. So naturally, you will have your identity as an entrepreneur. An entrepreneurship is a type of identity that we can either associate with or disassociate with. And just to again get on the same page, what is identity? Our identity is basically is created from our beliefs, what we believe to be true about ourselves, how we see ourselves, and how you perceive others to see you. That is a different thing, right? Because we can see ourselves in a way and also believe that people see ourselves differently. So those are two separate things. And this identity then is basically shaping your decisions, your actions, how you react to things, if you are starting things, if you are avoiding things or not. So it is very much your core to how you create your life. Like based on your identity, you could be creating different lives, different experiences for yourself in this lifetime. And this is true for your business, your soul business. If you have the identity, for example, of you, let's say you identify with someone who is a problem solver, right? Let's say that's part of your identity. So if you feel like you're a problem solver, you will basically have no problems with getting into situations where you don't have the answer, because you have this identity of, okay, like I actually know the solutions most of the time, or I can find the solution. It's easy for me to figure out the solution. And when you get into a situation, for example, when you become an entrepreneur, where there are seemingly a lot of problems to be solved, a lot of situations to untangle and make sense of, then you will feel more confident in that situation and you will believe, okay, I have a grasp on this, I can do this, I see a problem, I can come up with a solution. So you won't really identify with like, oh, okay, I cannot do this. You will more identify of, okay, I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Now if you have the identity of, let's say, I am someone who gives up easily, that's part of an identity. That's something that we can identify with, a belief that we made ourselves. It's not necessarily true. Like, that's something, what I want you to understand about identity is that it's not the ultimate truth. It's something that most of the times we learn along the way. This is part of our conditioning, right? We learn, our identity is shaped basically from early childhood. I want to say up until right now, where you are, but definitely in the early childhood, where we are around the parents, we are around siblings when we get into school, and then we take on other people's beliefs, other people's feelings, other people's identity, how they see themselves. If you witnessed, for example, in your childhood that, uh, let's say, your mom never really, or like, let's say your dad never really took charge, right? Let's say your mother was the charge of the household. She made the decisions. She pulled the strings, and your dad basically stayed in the background. You can take on multiple identities from this. You can take on the identity of, oh, okay, so as a woman, I have to be in charge, otherwise the household falls apart. Like, that is a belief that you take on, which is basically your mom's belief, but because she is acting this way, and as a kids, we learn from seeing people and watching people, not necessarily also from what they are saying to us, but more, we are so much more learning from how they are acting. You just take it on, like, okay, so to move ahead, to get ahead, I need to take charge. I need to take charge in every way possible. And that's something that is your belief now, that is part of your identity. And this can go actually both ways, because, for example, you may take this with yourself within the relationships that you have, and then you will actually behave the same way of, okay, I need to take charge in the relationship so the relationship moves forward. And obviously, as a woman, you will be wanting your husband to take charge, but because you learn to take charge and you are always taking charge, he really doesn't have the opportunity to take charge. And also because you are more in this masculine way of being, you will naturally attract men who are, in this instant specifically, are more in their feminine, who likes to stay back, who learn to stay back because of their own experiences. And that is creating an imbalance on both sides because, again, you took on this belief. It's not your natural, it's not your true identity, that who you would be if you don't have any of the conditioning. And then it's creating an imbalance within you. Now, if we again bring this back to the to the business side of things, we bring these identities into the business with ourselves too. So we have this idea a lot of the times of what an entrepreneur should be, right? Like, who is an entrepreneur? We have this image in our head, which is, by the way, also shaped by your identity and what you learned and what you saw while you were growing up. So my image of an entrepreneur is not necessarily the same image as you have in your head about an entrepreneur. So, and when we have this image, and we feel like, okay, someone to be an entrepreneur, to build a successful business, to be a CEO, to be a head of a company, has to have these specific, we don't really call them identities in our head, we call them more like skills and capabilities. Like, they have to be able to do this, right? This is how we usually think about it. They have to know this, they have to be able to do this, they should have these qualities, they should have this behavior, like, something, the personality, they should have a certain personality to be an entrepreneur. Like, we have this image in our head. And if we do not see ourselves as these, as this personality, the traits, the skills, the knowledge, if we don't identify with these because of our upbringing, then we won't really see ourselves as entrepreneurs. And when you are not identifying with something, it's very, very hard to act that way. It's actually almost impossible to act that way. So, I don't know, let's say you identify as someone who, let's go back to my example of a problem solver. If you identify as someone who is a problem solver, it's very, very hard for you to not solve problems. It's super hard. If you're like me, and I'm a problem solver, like I fully am identifying as a problem solver, it is so hard for me to not solve problems. It's actually much, much, much harder to stand back and let the problems sort themselves out, or let other people sort out the problems. It's super difficult for me. Very, very hard. It's much easier to just like swoop in, bring in my solution, and doesn't really matter if people want it or not. Like, fortunately, I'm over that phase of my life, but I have been that of like, I didn't even care if people wanted my solution. I just like dumped the solution on them, and then was surprised that they weren't really happy. If you know people like this, or if you're a problem solver, you know what I'm talking about. So it's hard for us to act differently than how our identity is. Now, I want you to notice already two dissonances with this whole thing. The one is that we have the identity that we believe that is ours, but a lot of the times is not, because we learned it from someone else. So there's already a dissonance and imbalance in that. We also have an image of an entrepreneur, an imagined identity of what an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur should look like, and what we would need to have that success, which is also coming from usually with what we learned. So that is also a distorted image usually that we have about what we should be. So when we step into this role and we decide, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to build a business and I want to make my dreams come true, we already usually start with two disadvantages, which we don't even know about. We start with like not truly being ourselves, and then trying to live up to an image that is actually not a realistic image either. So it's just so nonsense, but this is really what is happening a lot of the times. So the first thing that I want you to know and want you to start to dissect is, okay, so this image in my head that I connect to being an entrepreneur, like, what is that? What is that? Like, what do I think someone needs to be able to do, needs to able to know, someone should have as a skill set, someone should be capable of, what personality that someone should have to be successful in business, be successful in creating their own business. Like, what is that? Just be clear on that, because that clarity, and again, I don't even want you to like start to judge it if this is true or not. I just like want you to like sit down or just like go for a walk and think about this. Like, what is this? Because subconsciously you are comparing yourself to that image. Subconsciously you are, and a lot of times consciously, but most of the time subconsciously, you are creating yourself, comparing yourself to that image, that version of entrepreneur. And every time that is not matched with how you see yourself right now, you are actually creating a gap between what you believe is possible for you, if it even what you want is possible for you. So just like want you to get clear on that. And as a next step, actually, you can go in on yourself like, okay, what from these do I have right now? And then you will see like, oh, okay, so I actually think that a successful entrepreneur has to have like, I don't know, 15 things, either as the personality trait, knowledge, or whatever. And I right now I feel like I have two of those, and maybe not even fully, but like two of those. Then you will understand, like, oh, okay, so that's why it seemed basically an impossible mission to build this business, because I don't really connect to this version. I don't really connect to this identity of an entrepreneur. Naturally, it will be very, very hard for you to feel like you can act as an entrepreneur, you can be free as an entrepreneur, because there's a big, big, big gap there. So just want you to see that. And as for the soulpreneur part, like, what is a soulpreneur? I want you to bring that in, because the way I see it, that's a bit different than just quote unquote being a general entrepreneur, because again, we are building in the soul, we are building in what the purpose, the soul pool is, what you are here to do. And that would require another layer of this, so you can actually step into that soulpreneur identity. So soulpreneur for me basically is someone who is following their soul's guidance, following their core self's guidance, how they would do business, how they would create in their business, how they would organize and set up their business so they could actually create the transformation that they are meant to create. And what I mean by this, so our core self, we all have our core selves. Our core self is basically our true identity, who we are created to be, who we are meant to be in this lifetime. Everyone has that. So if you would strip away all of the things that you learned from others, all of the behaviors, all of the beliefs, all of the perceptions that you took on from others, we strip that away, then what will remain is your true core version, your true core self. That is who you are. That is who you are meant to be. That version of you has everything. Like every single thing, the skill set, the capabilities, the personality traits, everything, physically, mentally, energetically, everything that is needed to build the business that you are meant to build, so you can change people's lives. So the whole thing is with this, that you already have whatever you need to be able to build that business. You already have that identity. That's the whole misconception with this, of, oh, we believe we actually have to be more, we have to be better, we have to know, I don't know what, to be able to build that business. And again, as a side note, I will say, yes, in our path, in our soul path, where we are fulfilling our purpose, it is baked in for us to grow. So naturally, as you go through this process, you will learn new things, you will figure out new capabilities, you will unlock new gifts that seem new, but if you look at the bigger picture, it was actually already in you, because you have the capability, you just didn't use it. It was locked away, it was set aside, but you had that in you. It's not something that was never yours and then you magically found along the way. It's something that you already have. It's just maybe tucked away so deeply that you don't even know it exists. And that's the disconnect, the other disconnect that we have. We think that we need outside things. We think that we need capabilities that we don't have yet. And the truth is, you actually need to unlock the capabilities that you already have so you can build your business, so you can build the business in the soul's way, the soulpreneur way. Because the soulpreneur way, the soulpreneur identity will be your true core identity. And building the business from that identity will naturally without forcing it or trying it, will create a unique business that is uncopyable. No one will be able to copy that business because it is built from who you are. And because we are built uniquely, everyone is built uniquely. They won't be able to copy you. They won't be able to do the exact same thing. So you'll never, ever, ever have competition, ever. Because you are building the business from your own soulpreneur identity with your capabilities. It is also naturally creating value because those capabilities that you got, that your soul chose for you for this lifetime, they were chosen for a purpose, specifically for you to fulfill your purpose. Sorry, no pun intended, but this just came out super nice. So naturally, you have a very high potential in those capabilities. Naturally, you could be in the top of the world with those capabilities. Let it be writing, let it be dancing, or communication, or intuition, or maybe marketing, or sales, or operation, or whatever it is. You have a high potential, basically being able to amongst the top 10 or even 1% of the world, the whole entire world, with those capabilities, which again will lead for you to build a business that is the best of the best, and you will be the experts of the experts in your field, in your unique thing, which means that if people want to know what you know, they will have to come to you. They cannot go to anyone else, which means that the success is baked in this whole thing. Whenever you step in to the version of yourself, your true core self, which is basically your soulpreneur identity, or I want to say the alpha and basically the omega too of your soulpreneur identity. And again, there are different layers to that, but and different components also play out here. But that is the core, that is the foundational piece that you can start to build things on. And funnily enough, this whole process is not, it's kind of reversed in a sense, because it's not, you finding, okay, who am I at my core self and then building the business, but it's actually going in reverse in a sense of, okay, you are stripping away all the conditioning. And as you are building the business, as you're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to your core self and your soulpreneur identity, then the business gets more successful and more successful as you grow along the way. As you strip away stuff, the business flourishes. It's a very fun thing. So I will bring in three components to this whole soulpreneur identity, which again, these are also has layers to them, and we can also talk about other different components, other different ingredients that can come into this. But what I want you to understand with this identity, that this will come from, like I said, your unique value. So your uniqueness, how you are built at your core, and using that to create value. That is one component. When you nail that, when you start to nail that, then things will start to fall into place. Things will start to get easy. People will start to recognize you. People will want to start to work with you because they will see that, oh, okay, this person is unique. I want this because I cannot get it anywhere else. And this person is changing my life. I want to pay for this. It's a very simple recipe. Getting there, it's not necessarily will feel easy, because we usually tend to mistake simple for easy. They are not the same thing. Things can be simple and not easy. But it's a simple recipe this way. Another layer to your soulpreneur identity is your gifts, your soul gifts, the things that I mentioned, your skill set, the capabilities that you have a high potential in. Those will determine your specific soulpreneur identity. And when you learn them and figure them out, because a lot of the times, because either they are so natural to us, that we just don't really think about them, and we don't really consider them as gifts or something that we should use in our business. And then we don't use them. So obviously, we are not unlocking the potential of the business. Or, like I said, they are tucked away so deeply, maybe because you were shamed about them as a child and you don't even remember it, or it's just not the time for you yet to unlock. Then you don't even know they exist. That's where intuition comes into play. That's where I can, for example, specifically help with seeing with intuition, scientifically trained, precise intuition, which I have, and I'm training mine to see, okay, what is actually the soul gift? What are the soul gifts that you got? And what are the soul gifts that you should focus on right now to start to build the business that will grow your business the most, that will create the biggest shift in your business and in your life and in your soul pool right now. Well, you can look that up with intuition. That is super, super cool. And the third layer that I will bring here is your stories. So people tend to dismiss our stories and our experiences because, like, they're just not really important, but they are such a big essence of your soulpreneur identity, because your stories of how you changed your life, or how you went through a situation, or how you came to a conclusion, or just how was it for you to be in a feeling and feeling lost, or feeling hopeless or whatever, and then flipping that is what gives basically the flavor to this whole recipe. That is the salt on in the soup. Otherwise it will be flavorless. Otherwise it could feel, when you're just stating like, okay, these are the benefits of this but these are the benefits of this program or this product, and buy it. And it feels mechanic, it could feel, impersonal. But when you put in your stories, when you put in the story behind the program, when you put in the story of what you went through that inspired to create that program, when you put in the stories of revelation and going from hopeless to hopeful, and even from lost to feeling in control, like, those are the stories that people will relate to. Those are the stories that will build a connection. And being an entrepreneur is, and now I will tell you one of the ingredients of a soulpreneur identity, is to be able to build connection. A soulpreneur has the identity to be able to build connection, deep connection with people, to be able to create trust just from their personalities, just from who they are, just by sharing, just by being open and vulnerable and being themselves and authentic. So the stories do this, your stories. And there are so many things that we attach to stories, how we minimize them, how we set them aside, how we are afraid to share them, just so many, trauma around that, which I usually like to tackle in the coaching that we are doing, because it is blocking you. Being afraid of sharing your stories, or feeling like they are not worthy to share, is blocking you from actually connecting with the people that you are meant to help. And when you start to be more secure with that, when you shift that, and then actually that is what's helping you with your visibility, that is what's helping you liking, for example, creating content, that is what's helping you to feel like, oh, this is not just a mechanic that I have to go through every single day. This is me sharing my story. This is me sharing myself. And that's a very scary thing. That's why we have so many traumas around it, which you can shift. And that's the thing with identity. We kind of believe that who we are is set in stone. We believe that, okay, I'm this person, I have this personality, I have this way of thinking, I have this way of believing things. to be. And that can be shifted. Well, maybe not the way you are thinking, because that is unique to you, but your identity, how you see yourself and what you believe yourself, what you believe about yourself to be true, and how you perceive others people see you, that can be changed. There are tools for that. There are subconscious rewiring tools for that, emotional rewiring tools from that, nervous system work for that, shadow work for that. Like so many tools that I myself use on myself in my coaching, that actually reshape your identity and help you step into whatever identity you want to create. You want to create the identity of a successful entrepreneur? We create it. I give you tools how you can step into that, and you can be a successful entrepreneur. Again, so simple. The road for that won't be necessarily easy, but the recipe is very, very simple. You want an identity, you figure out that identity, have the tools to shift your current identity to the new one, and you're done. And it seems like it can be done in a day. It won't be done in a day, but you can be in a very, very different identity a year from now. Actually, you can be in a very different identity a month from now. I do that all the time. Like looking back a month ago, I was a very different person a month ago. And as you more do this identity work, it actually speeds up. Like it took me months to get into a new identity. Now it takes me maybe, I don't know, a few weeks. And sometimes with different things, I can shift my identity even in just a day or a few days. So it can be very fast. But again, it will be specific to you, what you want, where you are right now, how long is the gap between the two, but it can be shifted. It can be changed, and you can change it. You can actually change it yourself, or you can ask help. And usually when you ask for help, that is what speeds up the process. So I never want you to feel like, oh, I cannot do this myself. You can definitely do this yourself. It just may take longer than if you would ask for help with that. And that's the difference. With anytime you ask for help, remember that you're not asking for help because you cannot solve this for yourself. You cannot figure this out for yourself. You have to have the belief that I can figure this out for myself, but I choose to speed the process up. And that's a very different way of thinking about how I am shifting my life than when you feel like, oh, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I need a person for this, I need a person for that, because that is you enabling yourself basically. And when you see, okay, I can actually do this for myself, but I choose to do it faster, that is enabling yourself. And that's a very, very nice difference. So, I think I said everything what I wanted to say, but I will give you this as a last piece of chewing on. I want you to take a moment, take a few deep breaths, put your hand on your heart, just like center yourself a bit. And I would like you to connect again, however you please. It's not no right or wrong way to do this for now. Just like connect with your core self, connect this version of you who is your true you, and ask that version of you one advice with your business. Like, what would your core self tell you about your business, or about your business idea, or about you being an entrepreneur? What would your core self tell you? Tune into that. Whatever the message is, that's the right message. And just get into this habit of connecting with that version of you, because it's in you. It's just very, very quiet right now because you don't really know this person yet. You don't really know this version yet, but you can get to know this version of you more and more every single day. And that is a very, very simple yet effective tool to start to connect with that version of you. Just like for 30 seconds a day, and see how much it shifts. See how easier it gets every day. It will be easier and easier and easier. Maybe not the first 3 days or not the first 5 days, but by day 5, it will feel more natural than you could ever imagine. So, this was this episode. I had such a blast recording this. So, thank you so much for the opportunity to listening and have an outlet for this. And more episodes are coming, specifically on the soul business, specifically on identities, specifically on anything and everything that is connected to this and what is going to help you move, what is going to help you start doing, start creating, start becoming that version of yourself who actually has every single thing that they need to be able to create that business and build that business beyond everything you ever dreamed of, because that you have that in you. I know that you have that in you. I also believe that you at some level too that you have that, because otherwise you won't be watching videos on business, you won't be thinking about business, you won't be thinking about how would be able to create this. Like, you wouldn't have these ideas, you wouldn't have this desire if at some level you don't know that you are capable of this. Maybe right now it's only on your core self level, maybe only your soul knows this, but that is enough to start. That is enough. If you have the pull, if you have the idea, if you have this nudging feeling that I want this business, I want the business, I'm done with the 9 to 5, I want to be on charge of what I create and how I create, or you're already in the business but you are feeling this doubt and just don't know what to do with it, just connect with this feeling of, if I have this business already, if I had the pull to do this, that means that I am meant to do this. And if I am meant to do this, I have all the capabilities. Maybe I am not connecting to these yet, but I have them. I have them in me already. Please start to root into that. See this as a proof that you are at the right place, that you have what it takes. And with everything else, you will find the perfect ways to accelerate your growth, to accelerate your journey. I'm here for you. If you choose me, I'm honored. If you choose someone else, that's great. But follow your heart with this, which is such a cliche, but it's true. We hate cliches because they are very true. And just go with it. Just sit with this belief every day a bit of like, yes, I am meant to do this because I'm doing this. I am meant to do this. I am having the pull. I'm having the ideas. It's just not leaving me alone. That means that I am meant to do this and I have everything I need to be able to do this. Okay. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, if you give it a like or give it a review, I am super, super grateful, because this helps me a lot to create more free episodes for you. And also, if you have anyone who you feel like would benefit from this episode, or maybe struggling with the same, or you feel like you want to help them out because they maybe need the nudge to start their own business, sharing this episode with them could land so much better than maybe you nudging them and trying to make them do something. Because whenever we are trying to make them do something, like, we have this instant resistance. But if you just like tell them of, oh, I listened to this episode and it was, I don't know, help me realize this and this, and maybe you would like it too, and leave it up for them if they listen or not. But that is a very nice way to help something along the way, and also get more people around you who will be interested in the same things as you are, who will be interested in building businesses and interested in creating something. And that is such a great feeling, that when you have people around you who you can have a discussion with, who you can switch ideas with, who know what you are going through. That is such a big gift, and you can create that for yourself and also help them along the way. So again, thank you for being here, and I see you in the next episode. Bye.